365 Sports.
Welcome into the show, 365 Sports Mizzou. Happy Friday. This is Davis Wilson with another episode of 365 Sports Mizzou, where we talk about Mizzou. We've got some things to talk about, football mostly today, as the transfer cycle kind of wraps up and Missouri wraps up its last couple of additions. There is one new addition for sure that signed this morning. There's another one that I personally believe will sign pretty soon. I'll talk about both those guys later. Right now, though, hopefully you're staying warm. I know there's a big winter storm sweeping across America that's going to affect us even all the way down here in Texas, way down south. We're going to get some cold weather and some ice and snow. So hopefully everybody stays safe and stays warm. I'm excited for the weekend. I'm going to just hunker down, stay at home, hang out, watch some movies probably. It'll be good. I'm excited for it. So hopefully everybody stays safe and has already gone grocery shopping, because at least here in Dallas, the grocery stores are completely barren. Nobody really overreacts to a little winter storm like North Texas people do, especially after the kind of really tragic 2021 storm. Now everybody, they hear of a little bit of snow, they go buy 100 rolls of paper towels, and they get every possible toiletry they may need for the next month. So the grocery stores are empty, and so hopefully you've already shopped. Anyway, all that to say, just stay warm and stay safe, and that'll be good. All right, let's talk Missouri now. Let's talk some football. We have a new Missouri Tiger to discuss. He signed this morning, according to a report by Matt Zenitz. Excuse me. He reports that Miami edge rusher Malik Bryant signed with Missouri this morning. He was a four-star recruit out of high school in 2023. Has played for Miami, played a lot for Miami last year in 2024. Played in 12 games, took 160 snaps. All but 4 of them, I think, were on the defensive line. He came to Miami as a linebacker, but he is an edge rusher. He was recruited by Derek Nicholson, who was a former Miami coach. Now he's on Missouri's defensive staff. This is a guy that has experience playing on a really good team, has experience as an edge rusher. If you look at his stats from 2024, he finished with 11 tackles, a sack, 6 quarterback hurries, 4 quarterback hits, 11 total pressures. 11 tackles, 11 total pressures, 8 tackles is what I meant to say. 8 tackles, 7 run stops. So a good player. Was hurt this year, only played in 2 games this year for Miami, which is unfortunate. But in those 2 games, he recorded 2 tackles and a run stop. And, it's unfortunate that he couldn't play. He was injured, and he was also kind of buried in the depth chart. But this is a guy that I think, this is the prime candidate for me to break out next year. He, is obviously very talented. He's going to have a chance to win a starting job here for Missouri on Missouri's defensive line, a defensive line that's going to need a dude, and he's got a chance. He can come in here and be the dude. But Malik Bryant is like I said, he was a 4-star recruit. I don't know what they haven't updated his transfer ranking yet, but he is the 27th transfer that Missouri has landed this season. and they'll probably add at least one more. But for sure, Malik Bryant is in the fold. And I'm going to go over kind of what I think the depth chart would look like since we're kind of reaching the end of the additions. I think we're getting close to a point where Missouri, the roster that it has now, is pretty much what it's going to look like moving forward. So I'll give a rundown of what I think the depth chart could be, and I'll do that in a little bit. Speaking of Miami, Damon Wilson Jr. transfers to Miami officially. He visited on Wednesday, made it official yesterday. It's kind of like a one-for-one trade, Malik Bryant for Damon Wilson. If it was a trade, I would say Missouri should have asked for, a few more players, but because Damon Wilson is that good, he's going to have a great year in Miami. It's fun to have him in a Missouri uniform. Wish he would have stayed or gone to the draft, but it's at least nice that he's leaving the SEC and he's going to, play against other teams. And I wish he would have stayed. Like I said, he's a great player. But Malik Bryant, a fun player. I think Missouri fans should be excited about him. I think he'll be a fun addition. Miami fans were sad to see him go. I think that's always kind of a good indication of a decent indication, at least, of how you should feel about an addition. But there you go. Malik Bryant, 6'2", I think like 230. Let's see if I can find. I think he had 2024. He was pretty good. Let's see if I can find his numbers from that season. He has 19 career tackles. I feel like, 5 tackles for loss, a sack and a half. He was kind of a rotational pass rusher. So a really good piece to add for Missouri. And, Missouri fans were really hoping and waiting for an addition at edge rusher. They struck out, obviously, on some of the big names. And now they get one from Miami, a good player who's going to really come in here and compete for a starting job. And I think that's all you can ask for at this point in the portal cycle. Next up, I have Caden Lee. Officially, publicly, it has not been made official. But at this point in time, I would be shocked if it didn't happen. I'm not reporting that it has happened or will happen, but it just seems like it's going to happen. Austin Simmons doing some recruiting for Caden Lee. Some things that I've seen, I just really believe that Caden Lee is going to play for Missouri next year. He's a 4-star transfer receiver, which would be the second 4-star transfer receiver should he commit alongside Horatio Fields. I'm not going to go too much into detail until it is made official because I don't want to look like too much of a fool. But I have a very good feeling about it. If anybody cares about how I feel good about it. I think it's going to happen, and I think he's going to come in and compete for wide receiver 1 spot. And again, basically why I'm even mentioning it is because I'm going to run through the depth chart here in a minute. And just for the sake of running through the depth chart, I'm going to pretend that he's going to play for Missouri last year because I feel like he will. I really do think he will. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that announcement come pretty soon, sometime this weekend, maybe even sometime today after I post this video. All right. We have – I'm going to take a break and then do the depth chart. Before I take a break, though, Mizzou basketball, we still have to talk about them, even though they've lost 2 games and are making me upset. They play Oklahoma. They host Oklahoma on Saturday, tomorrow afternoon at Mizzou Arena on ESPN2. This is a game they got to win. I mean, I hate calling a game a must-win in January, but Oklahoma is not a very good basketball team. You're playing at home. You're coming off 2 straight losses, 2 losses that you feel like you could have won. You got to win this game. And if you don't win this game, I think there may be some trouble. I don't know. It's early, so I'm not going to make any declarations or anything, but yeah. Oh my God. I just punched my microphone. Good God. Anyway, what was I just saying? I was saying Missouri basketball plays. If you want to watch it, You should watch it. I'll probably watch it. Again, seemingly will be snowed and iced in. So, nothing else to do, and hopefully they win. Ideally, they get a win. Okay, let's take a quick break, and then I'm going to come back, and we're going to the depth chart. Here we go.
NFL playoffs. Let's go! All right, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, makes every moment feel bigger. In the postseason, the game shifts fast, and with DraftKings live betting options, you can stay right in the moment. Make every moment matter this NFL postseason with DraftKings. I am really looking forward to the third times the charm matchup with the Bills and the Patriots. Plus, DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half, you still get paid in cash. With DraftKings, you're covered through the entire half. Why bet player props anywhere else? New customers, here's your shot. Bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code ALLMIZZOU. That's code ALLMIZZOU to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
Okay, we're back. Let's run through the depth chart. I think Missouri is nearing the end of its additions that it's going to make to this transfer portal class. Right now, again, it sits at 27 total commits, which I think is good enough for 23rd in the country. They've done a good job. They've done a good job. I think they've filled some holes. Obviously, maybe some fans are frustrated that they didn't nail down a bunch of big names, but I think they got some underrated pieces that I think are going to be huge contributors to this season. Again, for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to assume that Caden Lee will be suiting up for Missouri next year. And I could be wrong about that, but I really don't think I am. So take that for what you will. I could look like a fool if it goes back to Ole Miss, but I think he's going to come to Missouri. And I'm going to save like a real breakdown of him until it actually happens, if it happens. But I will just say he's very good, and he's a 4-star transfer receiver. He caught for 600 yards last year in an offense that had a lot of mouths to feed. So a good player and would be an important addition. Okay, depth chart. Let's run through this right now. Again, this is just based on the roster they have now. Obviously, the depth chart's going to change throughout camp, throughout summer, throughout the fall even. But this is just my best guess at what it could look like. Okay. At quarterback, starting quarterback, it's going to be Austin Simmons. No doubt about it for me. He's going to start. Nick Evers and Matt Zollers are going to battle for your backup position, but Austin Simmons will be the starter. They went out and got him on the first day of the transfer portal. I'm sure they paid him some money, a not insignificant amount. And I think that's a guy I'm pretty excited to see what happens with because, not a ton of game tape. He started 3 games, I think, this year for Ole Miss before getting hurt. But he's got a huge arm, and yeah, I'm excited. All right, running back. I mean, this is the strongest position group on the team. You have Ahmad Hardy, who I saw was like, I saw Ahmad Hardy was like 80-1 to win the Heisman next year. I think there's a world where he wins the Heisman. I mean, if Austin Simmons is good, if the offense improves, and this team wins 10 games and gets in the playoffs, and Ahmad Hardy has a season like this, probably better just because of ideally the passing game improves. I think there's a world where he could win the Heisman. 80-1 seems like kind of crazy odds. Austin Simmons has better odds than Ahmad Hardy, which I know quarterbacks is kind of a quarterback award these days, but I don't know. I think Ahmad Hardy's gotten better each year he's been in college football. if he gets better again, I mean, I think there's a world where 80-1 is pretty decent odds. But maybe that is because Jamal Roberts is coming back. Jamal Roberts rushed for over 700 yards last season. He's coming back to pair with Ahmad Hardy and to probably take over the sole starting job next year. But that position group is incredible. Those two guys are going to be impossible to stop. If you can have even a decently improved passing game, this offense is going to be a lot better than it was last year. Zayshawn Edwards from Houston Christian, FCS freshman All-American, is your third string in all likelihood. Wide receiver, you have Donovan Olubade returning. Donovan Olubade, a breakout player this year for Missouri, true freshman, caught 30 passes for 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he was the second leading receiver on this team, maybe third. I think second, though. So having him back will be big. He'll only get better. You have, again, maybe you're bringing in Caden Lee, who's a 5'11" receiver, 44 catches, 635 yards, and 3 touchdowns. If they bring him in, it would be a huge addition. Those are your 1 and 2. And then you have Caleb Goody, a guy from Cincinnati, who very, very fast, kind of fills in it almost feels like he's filling the Marquise Johnson hole. 29 catches for 484 yards and 2 touchdowns. A big play waiting to happen, Caleb Goody. Probably going to be your slot guy. Actually, no, probably not your slot guy. I guess Caden Lee would do that if he comes. But an outside threat who can just burn. Next up, and for these receivers, I'm not really listing like wide receiver 1, 2, 3. These are the 4 guys that I think are going to contribute a lot this year. The fourth being Horatio Fields from Auburn, a 4-star transfer receiver, got hurt. Got hurt at Auburn. Only caught 12 passes for 106 yards and a touchdown. But the year before that, at Wake Forest, he caught 39 passes for 463 yards and 4 touchdowns. He is 6'2" from Georgia. Those are the 4 guys I anticipate will probably be your heavy contributors for your receiver room. Outside of that, you have Nashawn Montgomery, a transfer from Florida, true freshman. A lot of upside. You have Kendrick Lanier Jr., a receiver, another very young receiver from Minnesota. You have Demarion Fulks, who is probably going to be your return specialist. I think he had a couple nice returns this year. Could see some time at receiver. Also, for depth, you have Sean Terry. You have a couple guys who can be depth. But the guys I anticipate will be your real contributors to that position are Olubade, Caden Lee, Caleb Goody, and Horatio Fields. At tight end, you have Brett Norfleet coming back, which I think is huge. If he could stay healthy for an entire season, he would be one of the best tight ends in the SEC. So hopefully he stays healthy. You're also bringing back Jordan Harris, who I think that's an underrated guy to bring back because of what he does in the run blocking game. Doesn't do a ton receiving-wise, but he can. But a good guy to bring back for run blocking. And then Jude James, a young player who had a really nice game against Vanderbilt, another guy to develop and sit behind these 2 players before taking over the reins in a year. At offensive line, you have Caden Green as your left tackle. My guess would be Zach Owens at your left guard, Dominic Giudice at your center position, Curtis Piegler, who recently re-signed with Missouri officially. I think I would like to say he's the odds-on favorite to keep his own job at right guard. And then Josh Atkins from Arizona State at right tackle, a guy who started a ton of games for the Sun Devils the last couple of years. At edge rusher / defensive end / stand-up linebacker / whatever / guys who are going to rush the passer off the edge. Malik Bryant, the new guy from Miami. He is a guy that I think will compete for a spot here. Darius Smith, Georgia transfer from a couple years ago, tore his ACL 2 years ago, finally played for Missouri this year. Had some great moments. If he gets a little bit bigger, I think he could be a really big kind of havoc wrecker. So those two guys. Langdon Kitchen returning after a nice year as a depth piece. Dayton Hopkins, a guy who's gotten older, played a lot as a true freshman this year. Played well. Dayton Hopkins, a guy that I think could contribute. And then DeMarcus Johnson, the 6'7" JUCO defensive end. Those are all candidates to start. I don't know who will start. My guess would be Malik Bryant, Dara Smith, Langdon Kitchen will kind of all rotate in. We'll see. At linebacker, at your weak side linebacker, you have Nick Rodriguez. Had a monster game against Virginia in the bowl game. He was awesome. He had other really good moments for Missouri throughout the season. I think he will be your starter. It was a big deal to get him back. He'll be your starter. Dante McClellan is a young guy who will be behind him in the depth chart, but who could play a little bit. At middle linebacker, Robert Woodyard. I just broke this pen. The Auburn transfer, a guy who dominated against Missouri. I mean, he was huge against Missouri. I'm fixing my pen here. And this, to me, is one of the biggest acquisitions you had this transfer season. Robert Woodyard Jr. Nicholas Rodriguez and Robert Woodyard Jr. is going to be an awesome linebacker room. To pair with those guys, you have Dante McClellan, like I said, Jeremiah Beasley for depth, because Missouri does like to rotate linebackers. So those two guys I think are going to play a lot. So I feel pretty good about that room. All right, at your safety spot, here's where things get interesting. At your star, which is your linebacker safety hybrid, I guess it's going to be Santana Banner. I don't really know for sure who's going to play where, but I think that would probably be your star. And then for your other safety positions, I think you'll probably see Kinsley, Ludi, or Foston start at one of them, which is the Auburn transfer. And then the other position, I think you'll probably see the starter being Elijah Dotson, who played corner for Michigan, but was a safety out of high school. And I think they'll move him to safety, I think. So those three guys, Banner, Foston, and Dotson, are the three guys I would anticipate to start at your safety positions. And then obviously competing with those guys would be C.J. Bass, Jadon Blair, the 6'5" safety from Notre Dame. Trajan Greco, I think, is going to play a lot, whether it be a starting role or a kind of a rotational piece. I think he's going to have a big role in the defense. So there you go. At cornerback, Chris Graves Jr. is going to start for you for sure. Transfer from Ole Miss, started a lot of games for Ole Miss, including their playoff matchup against Miami. He'll start for them for Missouri. I think Jaleel Florence from Oregon is probably going to be another one of your starters at corner. Has been hurt a lot, but before he was hurt, he played for Oregon in some big spots, had a couple interceptions, maybe just one interception, but played a lot for Oregon before he got hurt. If he can stay healthy, I think he'll be one of your starters. Outside of that, you have Sion Lalea, another guy from Oregon, very tall. I think he's 6'4". Was one of the best JUCO prospects in the country 2 years ago. Played at Oregon last year. Now at Missouri, I think he's going to be one of your big-time players. Nick DeLoach played a ton for Missouri in 2024 and then played none for Missouri in 2025. Very interesting, but has a lot of experience. I think he'll, if he can get it together and kind of, compete for a job, I think he'll play, because he's played before. And then your young guys, Cameron Keys re-signed with Missouri this year, a guy that I'm pretty excited about. Would love to see him get involved in the rotation. And then young guys like Jackson Gates, Ahmad Billings, those two guys probably won't play a ton. But I think you're going to have probably 3 starting quarterback slots, and I think it'll be Graves Jr., Florence, Lalea, and Deloach and Keys, I guess, competing for those 3 spots. So I feel like that's, not as bad as it was looking a couple weeks ago. Probably still could be better, but I don't know. I think your secondary looks better. You got the necessary bodies in there to make it look pretty good. And then punter, it's either going to be Florida State transfer Bruno Reese or, God, where is he from? Mark Shanuda was from somewhere, FCS, forgot where, but it'll either be Roos or Shanuda. And for your place kicker and field goal kicker, it'll be Blake Craig. Thank God he's back. Please stay healthy, Blake Craig. That would be great. But I think that's how the depth chart will look this year for Missouri. We will see if there's any more additions. I anticipate there might be at least one more, but I don't know for sure. That is all I have here today. I appreciate you guys for joining. Stay warm. Come back Monday. I'll have stuff to talk about. Appreciate it. See you guys.
365 Sports.